Chosen one. The situation escalated so fast, it triggered what felt like a 911 call about you not giving a care, leaving someone crying and mad at the same damn time. Your peace exposed them. Your indifference proved independence. No reaction became confirmation. You didn't need revenge. You didn't need closure. You needed distance, and you took it. Let me take you back to when this person thought they had everything figured out, when they believed they were 10 steps ahead of you. This wasn't random chaos. This wasn't accidental dysfunction. This was strategic, calculated, deliberately executed. They sat down with their toxic support group, mapping out exactly how to keep you confused enough to stay, but destabilized enough to never demand more. The caller didn't just say you looked fine. They gave details that shattered every assumption. They described your energy as untouchable. They said your walk had a confidence they'd never seen before on you. They mentioned that you didn't even glance in their direction when you could have easily noticed them. They reported that you seemed completely absorbed in your own world, your own journey, your own elevation, like past history meant nothing, like you'd erased certain people from your consciousness entirely. That level of indifference is what's really causing the breakdown right now. They had prepared for you to be angry. They had responses ready for confrontations. They had excuses lined up for demands of answers. They even had manipulation tactics prepared for if you came back wanting to try again. What they didn't prepare for was complete and total apathy. You didn't give them anything to work with, no anger to redirect, no sadness to exploit, no hope to manipulate, just pure, authentic detachment. And that's when the crying started mixing with the rage. The tears come from them realizing you're genuinely gone. The anger comes from their ego being unable to process that you moved on this completely. They're experiencing cognitive dissonance on a level that's breaking their reality. How can you not care? How can you look that elevated? How can you seem that peaceful? After everything that happened, after all the games they played, after all the control they had, how did you just walk away and upgrade? The caller is probably still talking, still giving more details that make everything worse. Real laughter, not that fake kind, real joy, and they look different, like they've been taking care of themselves, like they've been investing in themselves, like they finally realized what we kept trying to deny, their value. Each word is another confirmation that you're not coming back. Each observation is evidence that their plan failed spectacularly, and the questions start pouring out faster than they can process them. Was there any mention of me? Any sign they wanted to know what I'm doing? Any indication they miss what we had? And when the answer comes back as no, they didn't mention you at all, didn't ask about you, seemed completely content, that's when the full meltdown begins. That's when they start calling other people in the crew, demanding to know if anyone else has seen you, demanding to know if anyone has heard from you, demanding to know why nobody told them you were doing this well. Some people in that crew already knew. Some people had already seen you out thriving. Some people had already noticed the different energy showing up everywhere, and they said nothing. They kept the information to themselves, maybe because they were embarrassed for their friend. Maybe because they didn't want to be the messenger getting attacked. Maybe because they were starting to realize who the actual problem was all along. So now this secondary betrayal is happening. The crew wasn't just enabling the toxicity. Some of them were actively hiding the truth. Some of them saw you glowing and decided not to report it because they knew the inevitable meltdown would happen. And now everything is coming out at once. Multiple people are admitting, yeah, I saw them. Yeah, they looked elevated. Yeah, I didn't say anything because I expected exactly this reaction. The crying intensifies. The anger multiplies. They're furious not just about you moving on. They're hurt that people they trusted saw evidence of your elevation and kept it hidden. The whole support system they built is being revealed as fake as the persona they were showing you. They're experiencing both emotions at full volume, with no way to reconcile them. They'll be mid-rage about how you supposedly think you're better now. then suddenly break down sobbing because they remember a specific moment when you showed them genuine care. They'll be crying about missing your energy, then instantly flip to anger when they remember you're out there not missing them at all. This emotional whiplash is exhausting everyone around them. Their friends don't know how to respond anymore. Should they offer comfort? Should they hype up the anger? Should they tell the truth that this is deserved? The crew is fracturing because nobody signed up to witness this level of breakdown. They expected entertainment gossip. Instead, they're watching uncomfortable reality unfold. And the questions keep coming in between the tears and the rage. These questions are torture. What are they doing right now? Who are they with now? Are they thinking about me at all? Was their care ever real, or was it just convenience? How did they move on so fast? What do they have now that's better than what we had? Each question spirals into another, creating a mental loop they can't escape. You weren't just healing from what happened, you were transforming into something completely new. While they were patting themselves on the back for supposedly winning whatever sick game they thought they were playing, you were doing the internal work that would make you unreachable to their manipulation forever. You stopped asking yourself why you weren't enough, and started asking why you ever accepted being treated like an option when you showed up as a priority. You stopped trying to decode their mixed signals and started recognizing that clarity is a sign of genuine interest and confusion is a red flag of game playing. You stopped making excuses for their behavior and started holding them accountable in your own mind, even if you never spoke the words out loud. You stopped blaming yourself for their inability to show up and started recognizing that how someone treats you is a reflection of them, not you. And somewhere in that process of deep internal work, something fundamental clicked into place. Maybe it was one lie too many that you couldn't explain away. Maybe it was one disrespect too far that you couldn't minimize. Maybe it was just the accumulation of all the small betrayals, adding up to one massive realization that this wasn't love, wasn't friendship, wasn't anything worth fighting for. But there was a specific moment, a definitive point in time, when you looked at the whole situation with absolute clarity and decided with finality, I'm done. Not done in an angry way that needed to lash out. Not done in a way that needed announcements or dramatic final confrontations or cryptic messages. Just done in the most permanent way possible. Done in your spirit, where real decisions get made. Done in your energy, where true shifts happen. Done in a way that created an immediate transformation in the spiritual realm that they could feel but couldn't understand, couldn't explain, couldn't manipulate around. If this touched your heart and mind, hype this video so more chosen ones can receive this message. And the beautiful thing about this transformation is that you weren't waiting for permission. You weren't waiting for an apology that would never come. You weren't waiting for change that would never happen. You weren't waiting for acknowledgement of the pain they caused. You simply decided that your well-being mattered more than proving a point. Your peace mattered more than being right. Your future mattered more than their comfort. This is the part that's haunting them now. You didn't give them the satisfaction of a dramatic exit. You didn't give them ammunition to paint you as unstable or emotional. You didn't give them content for their group chats about how you lost it. You just quietly, powerfully, permanently removed yourself from their circus. And that quiet power is more threatening than any explosion could have been, because explosions can be dismissed as overreactions. Silence can't be dismissed as anything other than what it is, complete disinterest. Your silence speaks volumes that their noise could never drown out. Your absence creates a void that their presence can't fill for themselves. Your peace radiates in a way that highlights their chaos. That's when the roadblocks went up around you. Not walls you built out of bitterness or revenge. These are divine boundaries that the universe erected automatically to protect what you were becoming, to guard what you were building, to shield the elevation already in motion. Every time they tried to reach you after that moment, something blocked them. Every time they thought about manipulating their way back in, the door closed tighter and locked with spiritual bolts they couldn't pick. Every old tactic they tried simply stopped working, like magic tricks that lost their power. They could feel the shift viscerally, but couldn't comprehend it rationally. They were used to having access to your energy. They were used to being able to push certain buttons and get predictable responses. They were used to being able to send a message or show up unannounced and throw you off balance. But now when they try any of it, it's like their energy hits a force field and bounces straight back to them, returning to sender with all the toxicity still attached. And that's when real panic started setting in, when desperation started showing. That's when they started making calls to their friends, asking, "Have you heard from them? Has anyone made contact?" That's when they started checking your social media obsessively, looking for any sign you were thinking about the past, missing what was, regretting your decision. That's when they started feeling something unfamiliar, something their ego couldn't process. Consequences, real, unavoidable, unchangeable consequences for their actions. But these aren't just any consequences. These are the kind that can't be talked away or manipulated around. These are spiritual consequences that manifest in every area of their life. New connections feel hollow because comparison to what they had with you makes everything else feel inadequate. Success feels empty because you're not there to celebrate with them. Even peace feels impossible because guilt and regret are their constant companions now, and the roadblocks aren't just keeping them out. The roadblocks are keeping blessings in for you. Everything that's meant for you can now reach you without interference. Every opportunity that was blocked by their toxic energy can now manifest. Every door that was closed because you were carrying their weight can now swing open. The universe is saying, now that the dead weight is gone, let me show you what I've been holding for you. Meanwhile, you were over here not thinking about any of it at all. Not in a performative, look how over it I am way. Not in a, I'm going to post about being unbothered so they see it way. In a genuine, I've got too much happening to waste energy on the past way. You were building a new life, creating new connections, healing parts of yourself you didn't even know were wounded, elevating to frequencies you didn't know you could reach, stepping into opportunities that were always meant for you but couldn't reach you while you were entangled in their toxicity. And here's what's really driving them to madness. Your healing isn't about them. Your growth isn't to show them what they lost. Your peace isn't to make them regret. Your elevation isn't to prove a point. Everything you're doing is genuinely for yourself. And that authenticity is precisely what makes it so powerful and so untouchable. You're not performing wellness for an audience. You're actually well. You're not faking happiness to make someone jealous. You're actually happy. You're not pretending to be unbothered. You're genuinely unbothered. And that genuine energy is something that can't be replicated or manipulated. It just is. And it's undeniable. And this is where everything they built comes crashing down in the most poetic way possible. Because that phone call wasn't just someone reporting that you looked okay. That phone call included details that sent shockwaves through their entire operation and destroyed every lie they'd told. You weren't just okay. You were glowing with an energy they'd never seen on you before. You weren't just moving on. You were moving up to levels they couldn't even comprehend. You weren't just surviving without them. You were thriving in ways that made it painfully obvious that being connected to their energy was actually holding you back, dimming your light, limiting your potential. And whoever made that call didn't just share this information with one person in private. Multiple people in that toxic crew heard about it, maybe even in a group chat where everyone could see at once. So now everyone knows simultaneously, everyone sees clearly, everyone is watching in real time as they have a complete meltdown because they can't process the reality that you genuinely don't need them, that you're genuinely better off without them, that every lie they told about you not being able to make it without them is being exposed as projection of their own fears and insecurities. They're crying because on some level, in moments of rare honesty, they knew what they had in you. They knew you were different from everyone else they'd encountered. They knew your love was real and unconditional. They knew you showed up authentically, even when they were being fake and manipulative. And now that's gone forever, and they're feeling the full weight of the loss. But they're also furious because how dare you move on? How dare you level up? How dare you stop caring about their opinion or needing their validation? How dare you prove that you're actually better off without them? In their twisted logic built on narcissism and control, you were supposed to stay stuck in the pain they caused. You were supposed to keep trying to win them back. You were supposed to prove you couldn't live without them, so they could feel powerful and important and wanted. And here's what makes their meltdown even more intense. Every detail that gets reported back contradicts not just what they said about you, but what they believed about themselves. If you're thriving without them, it means they weren't as important as they thought. If you're peaceful without them, it means they weren't bringing peace but chaos. If you're glowing without them, it means they were dimming your light, not enhancing it. Every piece of evidence of your well-being is proof of their toxicity. This realization is hitting them in waves that keep getting stronger. First comes denial, trying to protect their ego. This can't be real. Nobody recovers this fast. Something else must be going on. Then comes anger, trying to blame you for their pain. How dare they act like nothing happened? How dare they move on like what we had meant nothing? Then comes bargaining with the universe or with themselves. If only I could explain. If only I had one more chance. If only they knew how much I'm hurting now. But none of these stages lead to the real work of accountability. None of these stages involve them looking in the mirror and asking, what did I do to cause this? How did my behavior contribute to losing someone who loved me authentically? What needs to change in me so this doesn't happen again? Because that level of self-reflection would require humility they don't possess when ego is running the show. Instead, you proved the exact opposite of what they expected. You proved you could not only live without their energy, but actually thrive without it dragging you down. And it's destroying their ego, shattering their sense of self, exposing them to their entire crew as someone who fumbled something real for games and ego, and the approval of people who don't genuinely care about them. And the most beautiful part of your elevation is that you're not doing it to spite anyone. You're not posting to make anyone jealous. You're not glowing to make anyone regret. You're not thriving to prove a point. You're doing all of this because it feels right, because it aligns with who you really are, because you finally removed the weight that was holding you down. Your freedom is genuine, and that's what makes it so threatening to the narrative they built. They want to believe you're faking it. They need to believe you're hurting in private. They have to convince themselves that you're putting on a show, because accepting that you're genuinely better off destroys everything they believed about their importance in your life. It means the blessing they thought they were wasn't real. It means you weren't as dependent as they believed. It means the power dynamic they assumed existed was actually reversed. So they're crying because the loss is real. They're angry because the truth is undeniable. They're stuck in both emotions because their ego and their heart are in direct conflict. Their ego says you should still be chasing what you lost. Their heart knows they fumbled something irreplaceable. Their ego says you're not really over it. Their heart feels the distance you created and knows it's permanent. Their ego wants to dismiss you. Their heart mourns what they lost. And this internal war is playing out in external chaos. They're snapping at friends who try to help. They're crying to people who don't care. They're raging at situations that have nothing to do with you, but everything to do with how they feel about losing you. They're self-sabotaging new connections because nobody measures up to what they had with you. They're comparing everyone to you and finding everyone lacking. Now let me put you onto something real. Destiny Engine. I built this because I was done watching chosen ones get dragged through betrayal, isolation and attacks, while their enemies strutted around unchecked. I want to help you accelerate the speed of your divine justice and step fully into your purpose. And the beauty of it, you don't even have to lift a finger. DAMNN takes their downfall and flips it into your rise. This isn't another meditation app. It's declassified consciousness technology, the same mind programming tools your enemies once used to install fear, competition and scarcity, re-engineered to restore your sovereignty and align you with the cooperative, upgraded operating framework. It generates personalized sequences mapped to your divine purpose. The hardest thing you'll do is put on headphones, press play, and watch your enemies keep digging their own grave. The collective upgrade is underway. Start your DAMNN for $1 today and turn everything they did to break you into fuel for your rise. Link in the description. But here's what's not happening. They're not learning. They're not taking accountability for their role in the destruction. They're not examining their patterns. They're not doing the internal work that would prevent them from repeating this. They're just cycling through blame and regret without the growth that comes from real introspection. And that means they're destined to recreate this same situation with someone else eventually. You, on the other hand, did the work. You looked at your patterns. You examined why you accepted what you accepted. You healed the wounds that made you tolerate mistreatment. You built the boundaries that will protect you going forward. You developed the discernment that will help you avoid this type of energy in the future. That's why your peace is sustainable. That's why your elevation is real. That's why your freedom is permanent. And they can feel the permanence of it. That's another layer of why they're crying and angry simultaneously. It's not just that you left, it's that you're not coming back ever. They know this on a soul level, even if their ego won't admit it. They know you've closed that chapter and started a new book. They know the door isn't just closed but sealed. They know that no apology would be enough, no change would be believable, no promise would be trusted. And the crying continues, and the anger persists, and both exist simultaneously in a way that's exhausting everyone around them. They go from tears to rage and back to tears in the span of a conversation. They're fine one moment and completely unraveled the next. This emotional instability is happening in a way that's making people uncomfortable. Their crew is having whispered conversations about whether they should stage an intervention or just cut them loose. Some people are getting annoyed with the constant drama. You did this to yourself. You had something good and you ruined it. Now you're mad that they moved on. Make it make sense. These brutally honest assessments are coming from people who used to co-sign the toxicity, and that stings even more, because it means even the enablers are seeing the light. Even the people who helped create this mess are recognizing who the problem is. Even the friends who used to validate every game are now calling it out. Their support system is crumbling from within, and that's terrifying for someone who built their entire identity on external validation. But you're building your identity on internal peace. You're not looking to anyone else to validate your worth. You're not seeking approval from people who don't matter. You're not performing for an audience that can't appreciate authenticity. You're simply being yourself without apology, and it's attracting the right energy while repelling the wrong energy automatically. And they can't compete with that. They can't manipulate someone who's no longer seeking their approval. They can't control someone who's completely content without them. They can't diminish someone who's already done the work to know their value. All they can do is watch from afar and regret every choice that led to this moment. That regret manifests differently throughout each day. Sometimes it's quiet and contemplative. They'll be doing something mundane and suddenly remember a moment with you, and the weight of what they lost hits them hard. Sometimes it's loud and explosive. They'll see something that reminds them of you and have an outburst that shocks everyone around them. Sometimes it's somewhere in between, a simmering resentment they can't shake, but it's always there. That's the thing about losing something real. It doesn't just hurt in the moment. It haunts you. It follows you. It shows up in unexpected ways at unexpected times. When they're with someone new, they compare them to you. When they're in a good mood, they wish you were there to share it. When they accomplish something, they want you to celebrate with them. When they struggle with something, they miss how you used to support them. And that lesson is coming through loud and clear every time someone reports back about seeing you, every time someone mentions how good you look, every time someone notes how peaceful you seem, every time someone observes how unbothered you are. Each report is a reminder that they fumbled something irreplaceable, and that emergency call, it's just the beginning, because word travels fast in toxic circles. Everyone who was in on the games, everyone who enabled the mistreatment, everyone who bet against you is now hearing the same report. You're unbothered, you're elevated, you're thriving, and it's causing a chain reaction of realizations. Some people in that crew are having their own private breakdowns. They're realizing they backed the wrong side, they invested in the wrong narrative, they celebrated prematurely, they misjudged who had real power in that dynamic. And now they're scrambling to distance themselves from the mess, or trying to rewrite their role in it. Others are defensive, doubling down on lies because admitting the truth would mean facing their complicity. They're probably just putting on a front. Nobody moves on that fast. The pain is probably hidden internally, but these defenses sound weaker each time because the evidence keeps contradicting them. Every new sighting, every new report, every new indication that you're genuinely free keeps dismantling their comfortable lies. And the main person experiencing the breakdown can't reach out to you for answers. They know that if they tried, either you wouldn't respond or your response would be so detached it would hurt more than silence. They've lost the privilege of access to you. They can't call you when they're spiraling, can't text you when they're confused, can't show up demanding answers. You've made yourself completely unavailable to their chaos. And that unavailability is its own answer. It tells them everything they refuse to accept, that you're done, that you've moved on, that you've chosen peace over their presence, that you've decided your well-being matters more than their ego. Every boundary you set, every block you implemented, every form of distance you created is a clear message they keep trying not to hear. Meanwhile, you're living proof that removing toxic energy transforms life. You're experiencing what it feels like to breathe without anxiety, to sleep without stress, to wake up without dread, to go through your day without walking on eggshells, to be yourself without judgment, to pursue your goals without sabotage, to build connections without toxicity. And it feels so good that you can't believe you tolerated anything less for so long. The difference in your life is so stark that people who really know you are commenting on it. You seem lighter, you seem happier, you seem free, and you are. You're free from manipulation that was disguised as love, free from games that were disguised as complexity, free from disrespect that was disguised as honesty, free from breadcrumbs that were disguised as effort. And every report that makes it back to them confirms this freedom. Every person who sees you reports back the same thing. You're glowing, you're peaceful, you're unbothered, you're thriving, and each report is another confirmation that you cut the anchor, not the ship. You chose peace over chaos, growth over stagnation, authentic connection over manipulative games, your future over their comfort. And the universe said finally, and started moving obstacles out of your way while blocking anything that would pull you backward. Those roadblocks around you, still standing strong. They can't reach you, they can't manipulate you, they can't destabilize you. Every tactic they try bounces back without touching you. You're operating on a frequency they can't match anymore. You've stepped into a version of yourself that refuses to shrink, refuses to dim your light, refuses to accept less than you deserve, and that version of you is magnetic to everything aligned for you. And they're watching from the outside, watching you step into healthy love, watching you build the success they said wouldn't happen, watching you glow in peace they tried to steal, watching you thrive in ways that prove you never needed them. This is what has them making emergency calls. This is what has their crew falling apart. This is why they're crying and angry simultaneously. They built their entire identity around being the prize you were supposedly chasing, and you revealed the truth. You were always the prize. Now they know. Now they see. Now they understand what they lost, and there's nothing they can do. No manipulation will work. No apology will suffice. No promise will be believable. That bridge isn't just burned, it's dust. And you're not looking back, not second-guessing, not wondering what if. You're moving forward with certainty that everything worked out exactly as it should. So when you hear about that emergency call, when you hear about the meltdowns and confusion, when you hear about them crying and raging, smile, because that's karma, that's consequences, that's people realizing they fumbled something once in a lifetime for games and ego. You don't need to do anything, just keep protecting your peace, keep building your empire, keep stepping into your blessings, keep being unapologetically you. Because Chosen One, you're not just winning, you're redefining what winning looks like. You're showing what it means to choose yourself without apology. You're proof that you can walk away from toxicity and walk into abundance. The power they thought they had over you was only what you gave them, and when you took it back, their entire world fell apart while yours came together. That's why they're making calls in the middle of the night. Why they can't separate the crying from the anger, why they can't sleep, why moving on to someone new isn't working, because they finally understand they weren't doing you a favor, you were the blessing, and they threw it away. Now they're living with that choice, while you're living in victory. They're watching from afar while you're thriving up close. They're wondering what if while you're celebrating what is. You don't care. That's your superpower, your protection, your peace. Never apologize for it. You did what needed to be done. You saved yourself. You chose yourself. You freed yourself. Everything coming next will be so good, so aligned, so blessed, that when they hear about it, they'll need more than emergency calls to process it. They'll have to face what they lost, what they fumbled, what they can never get back. Let them cry. Let them rage. Let them make all the calls they want. None of it touches you. You're protected. You're blessed. You're thriving. And you're just getting started. The best is yet to come. Chosen One. And they'll have front row seats to watch it unfold from exactly where you left them. Outside looking in, crying and mad at the same damn time, unable to do anything but witness your elevation. You were never the problem. You were never too much or not enough. You were never difficult to love or hard to be around. You were simply in an environment that wasn't built to appreciate what you offered. You were trying to plant a garden in concrete and wondering why nothing was growing. But now you've found fertile soil. Now you're in an environment that nurtures your growth. Now you're surrounded by energy that waters what you're building instead of draining it. And the harvest that's coming is going to be so abundant that you'll look back at this season and thank the universe for removing everyone who tried to stunt your growth. The emergency call about you isn't just about someone reporting what they saw. It's about the universe announcing that a chosen one has stepped into their purpose, that someone who was being dimmed has found their light, that a soul who was being drained has reclaimed their power, that a person who was settling has remembered their worth. And that announcement is being heard far and wide, not just by those who tried to hold you back, but by those who are meant to build with you, not just by those who took you for granted, but by those who will cherish what you offer, not just by those who played games with your heart, but by those who will honor it properly. Your elevation is a beacon, your peace is magnetic, your authenticity is attractive, and everything aligned for you is finding you now, because you finally made space for it by removing what wasn't meant to stay. The emergency call will keep happening, the reports will keep coming in, the meltdowns will keep occurring, and through it all, you'll keep rising, keep thriving, keep proving that the best revenge is becoming so elevated that revenge itself becomes irrelevant. This is your moment chosen one. This is your season, this is your victory, and nobody can take that from you, because you built it yourself, for yourself, by yourself. That's power that nothing can shake, that's peace that nothing can disturb, that's freedom that nothing can revoke. Welcome to your new life. Welcome to your elevation. Welcome to the abundance you always deserved but couldn't receive until you made room for it. The emergency call about you was just the beginning. Wait until they see what happens next.